This is a video game controller, and this is a giant LED wall. But we're not playing video games, we're digitally moving to a new location for a film shoot. So you're probably familiar with virtual production, especially with everyone's favorite example, The Mandalorian. Now, when I first heard about virtual production, I thought it was really cool, but there's just one problem. For independent and small budget filmmakers, it's very complicated and very expensive. You need a huge LED wall, you need camera trackers, you need to know how to use Unreal Engine and how to build a virtual set. But what if it wasn't? What if it was as easy as playing a video game? That's what we're going to explore in this video with ARwall. ARwall is an all-in-one virtual production toolkit where you can get started with virtual production with just your phone. And then as you grow and scale up, the same technology, the same software scales up with you with larger productions, larger walls, but you're still using the same easy to use toolkit. They've got fully built 3D sets that you can shoot on, a plugin that makes Unreal Engine a lot easier to use, and a newly launched AI product called Infinite Studio that lets you build virtual environments in seconds. Let's get into it. Now, this video is going to get a bit meta because later on, we're going to take you behind the scenes of a virtual production shoot that we did with ARwall to create their explainer videos for their website. And they are also the sponsor of this video. But I've been really interested in what they're doing since before we partnered up, when I first discovered them and met Rene at NAB back in 2023. There are a few components to ARwall, which we'll break down in this video, and you can use some or all of them and scale up as your productions get bigger. So one thing to know about ARwall is they only do ICVFX, or in-camera visual effects. This means what you capture in camera is final pixel. You're not planning on going back and doing any other compositing work, which is different from green screen, where you still have to go in and composite your background after you film. ICVFX is how The Mandalorian and other virtual production films shoot. Before you go in the comments and tell me that in The Mandalorian, they did replace a lot of the shots. I understand that, but that's for a completely different reason. It wasn't because LED walls don't work. They work. So that's how ARwall is built to work. And it doesn't have to just be big LED walls. They work with TVs and projectors. Anything that you can project a background behind you and have that same in-camera visual effects on just a much smaller scale. Now, I didn't quite understand this the first time, so you can see me figuring this out in real time as I'm interviewing Rene back at NAB in 2023. Are you filming on a green screen or are you filming on a wall?
No, you're going to be using a 4K TV, a projector, or an LED video wall.
So at a basic level, you can get their software, the ARFX App, and run it on a PC with an NVIDIA card, or get one of their pre-built studio boxes, and that's enough to power a 4K TV or projector. You can load in one of their Scenepacks, which is basically a pre-built 3D environment that you can navigate with a game controller and quickly adjust settings like the sky and lighting. This is something that was really interesting to me because it's a pre-built scene that you can just navigate around the controller. A lot easier, a lot faster to use, and pretty much nothing to figure out, unlike Unreal Engine, where you have to do a lot of stuff figuring out and is basically an entire art into itself. So using this for the first time on the promo shoot for ARwall, the really awesome thing about shooting with a virtual background is when you need to adjust the framing of your shot, you don't have to move the actors or the gear or all the talent and stuff. You just grab the controller and nudge the background. So one thing that's been cool is we can just navigate and reframe our shots, the background, with this Xbox controller. So sometimes I've been like, I need to tweak something, or I don't like this weird object in the frame, and I just like nudge it, and it moves out of the way. Can't move objects, but like there was like a thing in your frame where there like one of these fake monitor arms was like looking weird, and so I was like, I'll just nudge this virtual camera.
There's lots of little features like that in the software that are informed in many times by the director, by the DP, somebody who wants a different type of experience with virtual production and doesn't want to be constrained by the dimensions of the environment, and they'll ask for features like that.
And when it comes to other background options, you can also generate an entire scene with AI with their new Infinite Studio, which we'll talk about later in the video. So you've got your background up with ARwall. For camera tracking, you can pair it with an iPhone and their iPhone app and record on your phone, which already has built-in real-time tracking. This is great for educational institutions, or with a newly released feature, you can turn your phone into a tracker, put it onto a real camera, and now you have real camera filming with a real background, with the phone being used as your camera tracker. So if you move it, you still get the background moving and everything plays out as it should in reality with the parallax and the camera moving. And for a bit more accurate tracking or to track in a larger space, you can use something like the Vive Mars Cam Tracker, which you can either buy separately or ARwall sells in one of their bundle kits. Now, the Scenepacks do make shooting in a 3D environment a lot easier, but it is a limited library and you might have other things that you want to film. So if you continue advancing down this virtual production pipeline, ARwall has the tools in place where you can progress as your skills or your needs increase, but still stay in the same ecosystem. So they have the ARFX Unreal Engine plugin, which brings the same easy to use quick settings for navigating and changing a scene with a game controller or keyboard right inside any environment that you run in Unreal. And as I said before, this all scales up. Same software, same ecosystem, no matter the screen size. So when we shot the promo videos for ARwall on a larger LED wall, all of the software was the same. It was just running off one of their larger servers, which you need in order to power such a large wall. But here's a little bit of behind the scenes look at what that experience was like. We're doing a shoot for ARwall, and we have a fake crew that we're filming, doing a fake virtual production scene to demo the features of ARwall, which kind of makes all-in-one kits to do virtual production setups and make it a lot easier. So we've got the wall here. This is sort of the bigger setup with this LED wall that's running off of ARwall's StudioBox kit. And we're using their Scenepacks. These Scenepacks are basically easier setup, so you don't have to know Unreal Engine or be in Unreal Engine. It's a pre-built scene. And we could just load up these settings and change some of the lighting environments, make it a little bit softer, nudge things around as far as our virtual camera to kind of just change our perspective. But no one here has to use Unreal Engine. We just use it with the Xbox controller. We're using Vive trackers. So we've got the tracking boxes set up. And then over here on our fake camera, which is a real camera, but it's our scene camera, we've got the Ursa, and we've got a Vive Mars. I'm sorry, it's not a Mars. We got the Vive tracking puck, which is tracking our camera. So if we move this, our virtual environment, we can see right here, will move with the camera. And so that's pretty much our demo setup right now. We're shooting these sort of fake scenario scenes. We've got a jungle scene. We've got a sci-fi scene. And then we've got like a office kind of corporate talking head scene.
And notice also that when we're working and we're actually using the tool sets and all the features, we're actually inside the scene. So we never have to leave that environment. You know, the number one reason you have a crash on set is literally because you're just alt-tabbing to control the scene and make that happen.
Gonna bring that up too, because I've also heard like horror stories of virtual production where they're like budget in 2 hours to like have to reboot the server, to have like downtime, and this wall's been booted all day and we've had no issues, and switching from a scene was like maybe a few minutes to like completely change to a different environment. Now, as I alluded to before, the next phase of ARwall and virtual production is getting even more wild with AI. Here's one crazy example of how fast things are moving with AI that Rene told me just a few weeks ago at NAB.
We're telling people like, okay, it's 2 to 9 months or something like that to build out your assets. We've now been on productions where morning of, I'm sitting shoulder to shoulder with the director on a couch, and we're figuring out all the assets for the rest of the day. And before lunchtime comes, they've got everything that they need to shoot for the day. That's a dramatic shift using this type of method. And I think it's like, hopefully that's what people are responding positively to. And we're very excited that that's the case, that people are seeing that that's possible.
Now, there are a lot of AI tools that already do this, but what makes Infinite Studio unique for virtual production is depth extrusion. Here's a demo from Rene.
So if I back out here, this is Unreal Engine right here. And so I've got all the usual tool sets that would be associated with Unreal Engine, and you know, I have all the virtual camera controls here, everything. So this is going to be interesting to folks that basically want to build quick backdrops and don't have any modeling or environment design experience themselves.
It will create a depth map, which you can load into the ARFX app, which will then give your scene some depth. This allows you to still move the camera around in your AI environment and have the perception of a 3D space and create some really dynamic shots. And even cooler, which I haven't seen anyone else do yet, is an upcoming feature, which is basically video backgrounds with depth map. So your AI generated background can be a video, so it has movement like water moving or cars moving in the background, but then you can generate a depth map that matches your video background. So you have the same ability to move your camera around, you have the same faux 3D, 2.5D elements moving around in your background, but it has that same video element. So you have more movement in the background, makes your background look more realistic, enhances your shot. And so the Infinite Studio can keep the consistent shape, locked camera, but have the lava flowing.
Yes,
so the depth map would be
have the lava flowing, have the smoke. So this is something we'll be announcing this week.
Okay, very cool.
Very soon.
Infinite Studio is its own product. You don't have to use it with any of the ARwall hardware or anything else that we mentioned. You can generate backgrounds and use it however you want. Also, you can mess around with the ARFX app for Windows for free, which has all of the features that we just talked about. We'll have the link to download that down in the description below. So let me know what you thought about this. Let me know what you think about ARwall and the toolset they're creating and how you're thinking about virtual production in your own filmmaking or content creation aspect. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode.